A mysterious collective of famous innovators. A relentless monster that stalks in their shadow. A mission that plunges players into a world of ghosts, mechanical marvels, and secret societies. The Tessera is an educational alternate reality game designed for teens ages 13 through 18. That means it's an immersive transmedia experience with connecting points for players both in our physical world and also online. Players get to practice computational thinking skills such as decomposition, algorithm design, debugging, and recombination, while exploring computing history by interacting with famous key figures such as Ada Lovelace and Alan Turing. The Tessera offers an engaging alternative to typical computer science-focused learn-to-code experiences, capturing the imagination of teens who don't think of themselves as computer scientists, and helping them to see how computing can be relevant to their lives and interests. It might even help them save the world. There are 2 connected games that live in the Tessera universe. The fully live game, Ghostly Tracks, is hosted by the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California. In Ghostly Tracks, teens solve puzzles related to the museum's exhibits to identify Tessera members, notable historical innovators, who are haunting the museum. In the Computer History Museum, the ghosts have come to visit us in our world. In the online game, The Tessera: A Light in the Dark, however, we've come to visit them in theirs. In A Light in the Dark, players journey to the secret headquarters of the Tessera, a mysterious collective of historic innovators. For hundreds of years, the Tessera has brought light and learning into the world with their innovations. Unfortunately, they are under attack. An embodiment of entropy, S, follows in the Tessera's footsteps, breaking their inventions and dragging knowledge into the shadows where it will be lost and forgotten. At last, S has found Tessera headquarters, Horsley Towers. The player must help the Tessera protect their stronghold. Guided by a ghostly presence, revealed as Ada Lovelace, they must outrace S. But this is no easy feat. The Tessera has guarded their towers with an intellectual labyrinth of puzzles and secret passages. Not only will the players have to overcome these challenges, but they'll also have to outwit S, which sabotages them at every turn. If the players hope to defeat S, they'll have to think sharp. Before the end, they'll need to become innovators in their own right. As the players race S through the levels of the towers and delve deeper into the history behind the Tessera, the challenges they face require them to learn and practice computational thinking skills, such as decomposition, breaking down a problem into component steps; algorithm design, developing instructions from those steps; debugging, searching for and identifying where steps went wrong; and recombination, integrating disparate concepts and components to create something new. A core design principle for the Tessera is that the storyline and learning challenges are fully integrated into gameplay. For example, to open the outer door of the Tessera's secret headquarters, the players must engage with a poem written by Lord Byron, one of the Tessera's key members, and the father of Ada Lovelace, whom the players will shortly meet. This supplies them with the key to their first puzzle. As the players discover, the door is guarded by 3 puzzles that require an understanding of network principles to solve, especially as they increase in difficulty. Players are assisted by a recurring red journal that reappears throughout the game. This guide, written by a former Tessera caretaker known only as RN, provides narrative clues and scaffolds educational learning. It suggests hints to puzzles, improving user experience, and also helps players connect to key terminology. Here, RN explains nodes, edges, and degree in networks. After solving the 3 network-based puzzles, the door is unlocked. Players are able to enter the Tessera's secret layer and advance to level 2. The multi-tiered structure of the Tessera's computing challenges affords players opportunities to rehearse and hone skills that they've acquired from entry levels to endgame. Puzzle variation and complexity is organized on a continuum from simple patterns to more complex models, both within and across levels. For instance, the simple network puzzles in Level 1 help players identify and test simple patterns. But by the time they reach Level 5, they must analyze and generalize these patterns into abstract models. To access the elevator in Horsley Towers, they must take what they've learned about network puzzles to create, test, debug, and share their very own. Similarly, in Level 7, in order to repair the Tessera's broken lighting system and keep S at bay, players move from understanding the basics of logic gates to solving increasingly complex circuits. In addition to the in-game Red Journal, the Caretaker's Guide, players also have access to help through explanations and links to educational resources posted by game runners through the integrated forum and chat. For the replayable version of A Light in the Dark, lesson plans are being developed. In addition to the puzzles and games woven throughout the storyline, as a reward for beating Level 1, players also receive a starter deck of Tessera Inventor cards. These cards introduce players to important Steam figures throughout history and to some of their landmark inventions. The cards can be found online, embedded in the levels, and also in the real world. The cards also serve as a connecting point for players. They can play the card game live with other Tessera recruits, and can use the cards as a starting point for posting on the Community Wiki, an online hub where players can delve further into the history of Steam innovators. The Wiki allows players to contribute fan art, memes, and stories about S, encouraging them to take an active role in building and developing the game's mythology. Players can also interact with in-game characters through social media to reinforce the sense that the game world has spilled out into the real world. There's a character-based Instagram and a pair of Twitter accounts, one controlled by the ghosts of the Tessera, and one controlled by S. We also host a Tessera Facebook page for parents and educators. By engaging with Tessera content across media channels, including the Tessera website, wiki, social media, Computer History Museum, and Classroom, players see how computational thinking concepts can play out in their everyday lives and situations, not just a single platform. While in many ways, the Tessera is a traditional ARG, it stands out in that genre with its focus on education, scaffolded learning, and replayability. The online A Light in the Dark runs as a live event for a 2-month period, but instead of ending there, the game will then be adapted into an ongoing ARG, one that can be replayed by individuals or classes at their own convenience. Players' participation in the game helps develop dispositions and attitudes, including confidence in dealing with complexity, a tolerance for ambiguity and open-ended problems, persistence, and the ability to collaborate with others to achieve common goals. Because participants in ARGs like the Tessera play as themselves, we anticipate that players will internalize these skills and attitudes to think of themselves as problem solvers, innovators, and makers. In fact, at the successful completion of their mission, players are invited to become a full Tessera member and to create an inventor card for themselves, confirming this enhanced identity. Only light can banish the dark. The Tessera helps to show players how to cast their very own.